Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about gratitude for sharing your life with your dog. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach, midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is an Encore episode 376, originally recorded in fall 2024. Every once in a while, I decide to put out an episode again, one that I thought would be super helpful for you to hear again, or maybe for the first time. The other reason for Encore episodes is timing. Sometimes I repeat one because of what's going on at my end, perhaps a vacation or illness or schedule in general. This time, it's the long weekend situation. You may know I'm in Canada, and there are a bunch of long weekends with stat holidays that fall on Mondays. Super exciting, but not when you have Podcast Monday. That's why it's a problem for me, because I record podcasts on Monday. Everyone around here knows it's time to stop the presses. Podcast Monday means that you have to be quiet, no running water in the laundry room that's just on the other side of my office wall, and no commotion outside of my door with Nico the Noof. Also, I've been working on a new workshop that's keeping me busy. I'm putting on these workshops once a month, and you can check them out if you go to my website at www.susierosenstein.com and click on the free resources tab, and you'll see it listed there. This one is called She Deserves More. I bet you can relate to that. And there's something else that I'm working on that I'll be announcing soon. It's about happiness, and I know you're going to love it, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's what's going on, and I know you will love this Encore episode. Today's episode is all about feeling gratitude for your dog in midlife. Dogs were always a part of my life, and I can't imagine my life without sharing it with a dog. I'll tell you a little bit about what it was like for me growing up. My very first pet was a dog named Charlie. He was a chocolate poodle. I was so young, like 2 or 3 when we got him. And then we moved to Texas, I guess when I was 4, and Charlie went to Grandma and Grandpa's in New Haven, Connecticut. I only have one memory from being with him, but there are pictures, and I do love the pictures. Like I love putting it all together, but I really don't remember much from when we lived with Charlie. And I definitely remember him growing up though, and I hear stories about him, or at least I did. And my grandma Ethel used to always get his toenails painted blue at the groomer. It was very special, and I have a clear memory of that. So as you can see, my doggy past goes way back. And when I was about 6 or 7, I got to name our new wiener dog, the dachshund. I picked the name Cindy, which was inspired by the Brady Bunch, of course. You may know, if you're a listener, how much I love the Brady Bunch. And about the same time, we got our first big dog, Mr. Jack, the St. Bernard. This experience shaped my life and made more of an impact on me than I realized for years. There's a little bit more to my personal doggy history. I hope this little romp takes you back to your own experiences way back when, too. And if cats are your thing, that's great. I totally understand, and I had my persnickety orange tabby Hundleby for 20 years myself. Much of what I'm sharing will be applicable to you as well. So back in the 70s, my family showed and bred St. Bernards. This phase was when I was probably 8 years old or so to 12, kinda. I think that was the phase. We did the dog show thing as a family. I even showed in the puppy class. I was the oldest of 5 kids, so I was old enough to show a dog. Now, a St. Bernard puppy is kind of big, but that's what I did. I learned how to do it, and I was so nervous, but I loved it. And I was so proud of myself, and I knew that my dad was proud of me too. My dad eventually became a dog show judge as well, and having 5 St. Bernards in the house and kennel, when I grew up, it just seemed kind of normal, but, it wasn't. But it was just the way we rolled. Now, I know that may sound a little weird. We had Cindy the wiener dog and all these St. Bernards. It was a little weird. But anyway, that's what happened. I had a fun surprise on Facebook a few years ago when a friend reached out that I hadn't spoken to in about 40 years. And he shared a fond memory about our pride and joy, Mr. Jack. My dad used to bring him to school for show and tell when I was in elementary school, and the kids just loved him. He was huge, much bigger than Nico, and he weighed a lot more too. I hadn't realized how many people he had touched or slobbered on. But he made a big impact, and kids from then have memories. Over the years, I heard more of these memories from friends, and after the St. Bernards and Dachshund, we shared our lives with lots of different dogs. We had Lamb Chop, the Bedlington Terrier, Shadow, the Cocker Spaniel, Duke, the Golden Retriever, Moose, the Dandy Dinmont Terrier, and Angel, the Great Dane. Some of these dogs I didn't know as well because at 18 I left to go to university, but I still loved spending time with them when I came home. I loved having all these dogs in my life at one time or another. So my love of dogs started young and came on strong. Two things happened in the 80s when I was in my 20s that took my understanding about my love for dogs to a whole new level, though. First, I had an opportunity to participate in some research about people and their pet dogs in university. I interviewed lots of seniors and kids, each of them about their relationship with the pet dogs. I did my own research on kids and their pet dogs as well. And at that time, I looked into all kinds of other stuff. Like when you're doing research on one thing for the paper and for your own learning, you need to figure out what else is going on and what's relevant. And that's when I first discovered interspecies communication, animal-assisted therapy, and pet bereavement. All that kind of stuff I learned at that time, too. I had no idea. I remember my glee when I discovered that there was research with dolphins, too, about how it could help people. And I loved it at a core level. I had no clue what I could do or would do with any of this, the knowledge, the experience with research, any of it. But I could feel how interested I was with all of it and excited about the potential of interspecies communication. Now, the second thing that happened in the 80s was related to videotapes. I live about 500 miles from my hometown where I grew up. My family shared somewhere around that time that they had recently gotten a bunch of old movies transferred onto videotape, and they couldn't wait for me to watch them. Now, I remember growing up looking at the pantry when you go in to get a can of soup or something, and on the very top shelf there was this box of old movies, the kind that look like the movies from cartoons. And maybe you too have these old movies, and maybe they have or have not yet been transferred onto videotape. But anyway, I remember it. My dad loved to take videos, and he was no longer alive by the 80s. He died in 1976. So I remember them really wanting to watch these movies with me, and I was a little nervous. I didn't want to watch them with other people, and I wasn't quite sure why. But I was a little apprehensive. I sensed I wanted the experience to be by myself. So then I finally went home. I avoided watching them for a few days with my mom or sisters, and then I came up with a plan. I waited until everyone went to bed, and then about 1 or 2 in the morning, I popped one in the VCR by myself. And I have to say, it was overwhelming. Several people in the movies were no longer alive, like my dad and 4 grandparents. And to see them on film, so animated and vibrant. Mind you, these old movies were set to music with the editing, with the transfer, with the transfer. So the real sound wasn't there. It was just this music. But when I was watching them, it didn't matter. The movies were so powerful and so emotional. Now, I don't know if you've had this experience to watch old movies with people you know in them who are no longer with you. It was really overwhelming. And then something surprised me. As I was sitting there in the middle of the night crying, the emotions just kept coming on stronger and stronger like a ton of bricks. It was the movie footage of the dogs. Mr. Jack and the other St. Bernards, Roxy, Heidi, Gambler, Fluffy, my little dachshund Cindy, lots of footage of them, especially Mr. Jack, Roxy, and Cindy. Those were the first dogs that we got at that time, and I had such strong memories about them and apparently emotions. I'll tell you, I just sobbed and sobbed. Now, I didn't really understand what was going on other than I was incredibly moved. It's not that I loved the dogs more than my father or my grandparents, but there was something about seeing the dogs as part of seeing everybody else on these movies, in the movies, that really got to me. It was such a good cry, too. It was a massive one. A huge, ugly cry full of mixed emotions. Sadness, of course, but also gratitude that I had so many important experiences with my dogs, that they were so meaningful in my life. So remember, when I was looking back at these movies, it was in the 80s, so I was in my mid-20s at least, maybe even late 20s. I don't quite remember when that was. And I was looking back on a time where I was quite young. I think the movie started at 6, 7 for sure. So I think they were that phase of life, 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9, just that little slice of life. But what I was experiencing was just so much mixed emotion. So, like I said, I had sadness and I had gratitude. The dogs were the constant when my life got tough. They represented the good part of my childhood, the normal part of my childhood. And as I mentioned, for that, I'm unbelievably grateful. Now, I could go on, but it's only one episode in a podcast after all. I wanted to share all of this with you because when I look at my life and where there's been so much joy, I can't help but notice how important dogs have been to me always. So I'm wondering right now what's coming up for you. Are you thinking back to your childhood and a special relationship you had with your dog or a neighbor's dog? I just wonder if this is as meaningful to you as it is to me. I have a feeling it is. Now, you may know that there's substantial research about the importance of having companionship of a dog in your life. We're talking about physical, mental, and emotional health, social connections, routines, responsibility, empathy, and more. Basically, overall well-being can improve. Now, if you look at the show notes, I have done several episodes about your relationship with your dog, including with some specialists. So I have put those links in the show notes. So overall well-being is a thing, and it can actually improve with a relationship, with companionship of a dog. And then there's gratitude. It's one of those emotions that also has a lot of research associated with it, and it makes sense to understand it and incorporate more of it into your life. Expressing gratitude can be done with small things too, like saying thank you more, journaling about what you're grateful for, and slowing down to be more aware of opportunities to be grateful. Like for me, thinking about the air conditioner. Every time I go from like warmth to a cool home in the summer, I am so appreciative of it. Like I really am grateful for it. I think about it all the time. Thinking about and feeling more grateful can lead to positive effects in your life. So if you have life with your dog and gratitude in general, both leading to positive effects in your life and improved overall well-being, I don't know, that's pretty good. I think it's worthy of a look. So my friend, let's combine the two. In honor of my dog Nico's 11th birthday, I'd like to challenge you to do something fun that's also good for you. I'm challenging you to be more grateful for the time you spend with your dogs. And if you don't have a dog, any pet will do. Really think about this. I know you love your dog. I know you have fun with your dog. But are you grateful for the time you're spending with your dog, for sharing your life with your dog? Do you feel like the routine chores are a nuisance? Are you annoyed about going for a W in bad weather? I don't want to say the word walk too loudly. Do you ignore your dog when you come home? What came up for you is I just asked you these simple questions. I wonder what you think you're doing well when it comes to your life with a dog, and what you think the areas of improvement are in terms of your relationship with your dog. Here's a small, easy thing you can do to be more grateful for your life with your dog. Are you ready? Here it is. Be more present and less rushed with your interactions with your dog. That's it. You're probably familiar with the expression, be in the present moment, right? Well, ask yourself, what could it look like if you were more present with your dog? When you're on a walk, for example, what could that look like if you were more present? Maybe not talking on the phone or listening to a podcast. Maybe practicing some sit, stay, down commands. Perhaps stop and sit on a bench or on the curb and just pause and pet your dog. I don't know. What do you think? What ideas do you have? How could you be more present when you're spending time with your dog? So with these examples, you see that first you have to be aware that you want to be more present, and then you need to notice your urge to multitask and be busy. You might resist slowing down, and you might resist only doing one thing. So, my experience with the Midlife gals is that when we are doing anything, we like to focus on productivity and being efficient. And it can be challenging to slow down and to focus on one thing. So that's why I asked you about your urge. Notice your urges to hurry up, to speed up, to multitask, to resist doing one thing. And if you notice that, ask yourself why. And is this stuff coming up when you're spending time with your dog? If you're aware that you want to be more present and grateful for your furry companion, that may help you be present and stay focused. With Nico, we get stopped all the time by people asking questions about him when we're on a walk. What does he weigh? What kind of dog is he? Does he shed? Those are pretty standard. How much does he eat? That's the other one. The answers are 135 pounds, Landseer Newfoundland. They are black and white, not all black Newfoundlands. And yes, he sheds a ton, and he's the messiest dog we've ever seen or known. He's a big mess. He makes a big mess, and that's just the way it is. And he eats a lot, that's for sure. Now, we don't rush the conversations with strangers. We really don't. If somebody wants to talk to us about Nico, we talk. We answer the questions. They're fascinated. And we love that Nico brings so much joy. People stop their cars to talk to us with Nico. If we go to a big park and we're on a trail or something, people always stop. People with dogs and people without dogs. It's amazing to just watch the joy. When people are driving by us on our neighborhood walk, they're smiling. They're turning their heads to watch. He just makes people smile. So I'm very aware of not rushing the conversations. We're letting Nico have the experience, we're letting the people have the experience, and we're just enjoying the overall experience that we're having with him. And we're very grateful for that. It's fun. Like, it's very social. And it's very much doing something special with Nico. And he is so excited about going for a walk. Oh my gosh. He loves it. He just loves getting out. So, here's another example. Think about what it might look like for you to be more present with daily chores, like feeding your dog. What could you do to be more present, more aware, and connected with your dog during this time? Now, you might be thinking, Susie, come on now. That's a little weird. Well, it's really just about slowing down. Do you think of feeding the dog as a nuisance, like a chore? Or do you think of it as an opportunity to nourish your pet? Do you rush or are you calm? Can you tweak anything here to be more in alignment with gratitude? It's funny, we've noticed that Nico prefers us to stay with him when he eats. So we do. And it's so cute and lovely. It's like permission to pause for a good cause. He just likes company. I bet you like company too. So one last example to think about. Cleaning up after your dog. Now this one might be a stretch, but just consider all of the ways you clean up after your dog and clean up for yourself because you have a dog, because you live with a dog, because you love a dog. The yard, the poop, the shedding, the drool. For those of us with Newfs and Saints and other goober flinging breeds, the drool is a thing. The dog toys, the dog beds, the car, the vacuuming, the mopping, etc., etc., etc. And what are you thinking? What are you thinking when you're doing these kinds of things? Are you annoyed? Are you present? Are you thinking of it as exercise? Are you grateful you have your dog in your life to clean up after? I mean, after all, we're talking about unconditional love on their side of the equation, right? There is so much to love. So I just want you to think about things more. Is there a way you can elevate your experience with your pet? Your communication, your connection, your pace, how much you're relaxed, the ability to relax together, like all those things. Like I said, there's just so much to love. Remember, today is Nico the Noof's birthday. Let's not forget, it is Nico's birthday. He's 11. Not a day goes by that I am not grateful for him. It was a dream of mine to have a big dog in my life again for decades. When I turned 50, I told my family my idea. We had just lost our sweet golden retriever at that time, and we had another golden before that, Yofi and Jasper, one after the other. They were a part of our family when the kids were small, right when they were born, actually, until high school, junior high school. And I figured a Newfoundland would be similar to the experience I had as a kid with the St. Bernards, but with more swimming. I also knew that Newfs were couch potatoes, and I was excited about that. With the older kids, I wanted to make sure that the dog was kind of chill. Now, Newfoundlands are rescue dogs. They are powerful swimmers. And so if you're curious about Newfoundland, you really got to look it up on YouTube, and you will be amazed at what you see. So sharing my life with Nico was a gift I gave myself and my family. I am also grateful I followed through on a personal desire, and having him in our family to love has meant so much to all of us. He's the gift that keeps on giving. I hope that this episode inspired you to feel even more gratitude for your life with your dog and enjoy the gift of sharing your lives together. Now, if you need some help with thinking more intentionally about gratitude, aging, making a midlife transition, a tweak, an adjustment, or a change yourself, and you want to understand how mindfulness can help you get out of your own way so that you're happier overall, I'm your gal. It's way more fun to do this work together. Okay, that's it for this episode. So if you are connecting with the show and are finally ready to make some changes to regret-proof your life, I want to invite you to apply for the Women in the Middle Academy. It's my transformational midlife group coaching program to help you learn how to allow yourself to be happier before you run out of time. Yep, you got to get clear about what's getting in your way so you can get on with the good stuff. That, my friend, that is your exciting life. This is serious business, and I can help you make sure that you don't have regrets. So let's talk about it. Go ahead and apply for your momentum call at www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. Now, as you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you waste less time waiting for something amazing to happen in your life and more time doing what you want to do on purpose. And yes, sometimes I got to be blunt, because in midlife, we think a lot about wasting valuable time. It is happening. Time is flying, so get on with it. And that's what we talk about here in the podcast, and that's what is very common for us to talk about at our age. That's what being intentional is all about. So remember, you're the queen of your brain domain. I think it's a great way to be, and midlife transformation coaching is the fastest way to rediscover joy and purpose after 50. So if you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, either in the academy or privately, please reach out at www.talktosusie.com. Your future self will thank you. For show notes and links, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab and look for episode 415. You're also going to see a link there for my other show, The Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, which is all about the reality of running your business when you are a midlife gal. It's also on iTunes, Spotify, and all the places. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.